everybody. Really glad to be with you this week. Thanks for tuning in. I wanted to tell you about a few events. Actually, one very sad event, one very important event happening next week on the Day for the Elimination of Poverty. That's October 17th. And another event that's happening on Friday, October 12th, so shortly after you see this broadcast. As you probably know, there have been a string of reported sexual assaults in the Bloor Christie area over, I guess, since July or August, as well as reports of sexual assaults up at York University, sexual assaults in the Church and Wellesley area, Dundas and Sherburne, where women are experiencing a lot of violence. And so this has been pretty constantly in the news. There's lots of questions, of course, to ask about these assaults. How are the police warning women in these neighborhoods? What kinds of steps are university administrations? There were also sexual assaults reported at Ryerson. So lots and lots of questions for us as we look to the police to offer some leadership or at least warnings to women in the areas. They're supposed to have developed a protocol around that. We've heard nothing from our city leadership. All we hear about from Mayor Ford and his right-wing allies is, his insistence that he has the right to coach football, but really nothing about the kind of violence that women are experiencing in this city in public, let alone the violence that women experience daily in their homes. So we have no leadership from the city. We've got no leadership from the police, who really only come in after these things, and as I say, have not seemed to develop a consistent warning policy for women in the city around these kinds of assaults. So what that means is that is left up to us as women and men in our communities, as trans people in our communities, to organize and to fight back and to show solidarity with each other and support, to come together in our communities to show that we will not take this, that women do have the right to walk in the evening by themselves, in any neighborhood that they choose, in any park that they choose, in any way that they choose, dress the way that they choose, etc., etc. So, once again, there was, I think early in September, there was a march and a rally organized in Christie Pits by local neighborhood women. Once again, we've got women coming together. This time an individual has put out a posting on Facebook inviting women, men, and trans folk to march, walk with her in the neighborhood on Friday, October 12th at 8 p.m. She's going to be taking a walk starting on the north side of Bloor at the corner of Christie and Bloor. She's going to take a walk. Let's see, she says, we're going to start from the center bottom of Christie Pits, so that's a little bit west of Christie, on the north side of Bloor. She wants to do a counterclockwise circuit around the park, and then go down Montrose Avenue, east along Harvard Street, up Grace, and west along Bloor again to arrive back at the bottom of Christie Pits. So a walk in the neighborhood, a walk past many of the spots where it seems like, from the descriptions being offered, that one man has been attacking women from behind, coward that he is, attacking women from behind, grabbing, sexually assaulting women, and then running away. This is the worst form of cowardice. Obviously, this is something that's very difficult to defend yourself against. It's something to be aware of when you're in that neighborhood, and it's something for all of us in our neighborhoods to be paying attention to what's happening to women on the street. If we notice that she's being harassed, grabbed, assaulted, it's really important for the rest of us to step up and interrupt that, get in the way of that, perhaps take down more details so that we can describe that person if she decides to report this to the police. So, tomorrow night, Friday, October 12th, 8 p.m., north side of Bloor at Christie Pits Park. You can meet up with other folks and walk around the neighborhood there and just, again, bring attention and awareness to this issue. Reclaim the park, reclaim public spaces for women. We do have the right to walk wherever we want at night, during the day, to be free of violence in our homes, in our workplaces, and in public. So let's come together and demand that right for women. The other thing, the sad piece of news, that another sad piece of news, is I'm sorry to report, you may have heard this, that the Toronto Women's Bookstore is going to be closing at the end of November. This is an amazing independent bookstore that's been on the front lines of the women's movement for almost 40 years in Toronto. Since the mid-70s, the Women's Bookstore was opened up on Harbord Street, and it was bombed and damaged as a result, or it was caught up in the bombing of an abortion clinic back in the late 80s. It was the place where the wonderful A is for Orange reading series was mounted. It's been it was on the front lines of the anti-occupation efforts, the protest against Israel's occupation of Palestine and oppression of the Palestinian people. The Women's Bookstore was an early advocate for an end to that occupation. It was it has been the spot where dozens and dozens of up-and-coming writers and readers and poets have been able to feature their work. It was a champion of little books by local authors that wouldn't have got attention otherwise. It was the place you could go to supplement your readings for your university and college courses and get a hold of information that you wouldn't find in your university or college bookstore. It's just a real shame. It was it was in danger of closing, as you remember, a couple of years ago. Victoria Moreno came in and tried to save the bookstore and has been valiantly struggling to do that over the last 2 years. But finally she's just had to give up on that. It's just not possible to keep the bookstore going at any kind of profit at this point. And I expect that Victoria has been subsidizing things for a little while now. So really kudos to her. And congratulations to all the amazing women and trans folk who have worked at the bookstore over the last 39 years. There's going to be a final gathering on Tuesday, October 30th at 7:30 p.m. The Women's Bookstore is at 73 Harbord Street in Toronto, just west of Spadina on the south side of Harbord. There's going to be readings. There's going to be readings from folks like Judy Rebick, Michelle Landsberg, Maureen Hines, Sonia Greco, Susan Glickman, Farzana Doctor, Sue McLeod, Tanis MacDonald, Elizabeth Pickett, Sheila Stewart, and there will be many, many more readers to come. I'm sure it'll be a wonderful night of celebration of the bookstore. It's just really too difficult for small independent bookstores and many other small independents to keep going in the days of online bookstores, giant bookstores like Indigo Chapters that kind of gobble up everything in their wake. So very difficult for small places to exist and survive and thrive, especially places with the kind of politics and the kind of advocacy that the Women's Bookstore has shown throughout the years. So really it's a sign to us we gotta support our independent bookstores. Get down there before October 30th. Make sure that there's nothing left to sell by the time that Victoria has to close the doors. Support other independent bookstores. Glad Day Books, for example, was another bookstore serving the LGBT community that was in danger of going under, was saved by a group of investors, including Michael Erickson, and continues in its spot on Yonge Street, north of Wellesley. They deserve your support so that we don't see that same fate happening to our favorite bookstores in our neighborhoods. So definitely we'll see you there on the 30th. You'll be able to go on Facebook, look up Toronto Women's Bookstore. You can go to their webpage. I don't have that webpage for you, but if you Google Toronto Women's Bookstore, you'll find it. Okay. Last thing I want to tell you about quickly, a really important event coming up next week on October 17th. That's Wednesday. As you may know, the provincial government in its last budget, or you may not know actually, most people don't know this. We heard a lot about, a 2% tax on people over $500,000. We heard a lot about a miserly increase of 1% to ODSP, OW. This only came after advocacy from community groups and the NDP. But what most of us didn't know is that the Ontario government slashed and cut a benefit called the Community Startup and Maintenance Benefit. This is a benefit that's accessed by about 16,000 people per month on OW and ODSP. It allows them it gives them assistance with costs that arise out of emergencies. That's why it's called a startup benefit and maintenance benefit. So for example, when people have bed bugs and have to throw out all their furniture, of course people on OW and ODSP can't afford to just head out and buy a new bedroom suite or kitchen table and chairs. The startup benefit, it was I believe up to $799 that someone could access once every 2 years, was available to buy new furniture. First and last month's rent if somebody had to move, particularly used by women who experience violence, who need to make a new start and move into their own home. Other kinds of costs like that, this benefit was really, really important too. I've done a lot of work with poor women on OW and ODSP over the years in programs at Bloor and College, and I can tell you that many of the women that we worked with accessed that benefit as they were trying to start a new job. Replace, as I say, stuff infested by bed bugs, make a new start after experiencing violence in their home. So this has been canceled by the provincial government. What they're doing is they're taking it, they're rolling it into their housing benefits generally, and what they're going to do is make that available to anyone, any low-income person. So they've taken something away from people on OW and ODSP and used it to give the impression that they're increasing housing benefits to many, many low-income people. This dividing poor people against poor people is unconscionable, and we need to protest it. So Wednesday, October 17th, the Ontario Coalition Against Poverty and other groups are organizing a walk-in clinic at the Church of the Holy Trinity, which is the little church behind the Eaton Center, starting at 10 a.m. People on OW and ODSP are invited to come to that clinic and apply for the benefit before it ends on January 1st. That's when it's going to end. That will be followed by a noon meal and rally at City Hall and a march on the provincial government to deliver all the applications collected that day. You can find information about this action at www.ocap.ca. That's ocap.ca. It's really important that we all be out there at City Hall on Wednesday, October 17th, and to let the provincial government know that we will not stand for them continuing the Harris legacy of stealing money out of the mouths of OW and ODSP recipients in order to balance their budget and in order to make them look like they're actually doing something about housing. This is not okay. We need to stand up strong and say so. We need to let them know that we've noticed that they've pulled this underhanded move, and we need to demand that they reinstate that benefit, and in fact, rather than cutting OW and ODSP recipients, that they continue to increase the supports and the income supplements that OW and ODSP recipients receive. Thanks a lot. We'll see you there.